Having to rescue that on a Monday night. Rory, Micah, Chris, thank you. They're kicking off at Oxford. Thank God for that. Jonathan Pearce.
Hang on a minute, chappers. Hang on, I've just got to finish a conversation with my mum. Mum, you weren't lying to me then. You weren't lying to me. 63 years of age. You're not lying to me. All right, Mum, I've got to go. I've got work to do. I've never been as unsettled in my life, I can tell you.
Jonathan, that's Micah. That's Micah all day long. You know what Mike's like. Gee whiz.
We just kicked off here. Arsenal.
Sorry, guys.
Arsenal are in their all white. It's the No More Red shirts. They wore them last year. It's a part of their anti-knife crime, and they've got us up and underway. Sort of a grey-white. They're kicking from left to right. I'll run you through the two teams in a moment's time. Oxford in their yellow with the blue sleeves, of course, defending the goal away to our right-hand side. That's the east stand end of this three-stand ground. There's no stand away to our left-hand side. It was a bit of a dispute with Firoz Kazam, the former owner, chairman of the club, who owns this ground at the moment. It's a scratchy old pitch. It's quite cold. Conditions aren't perfect for an FA Cup tie for the Premier League leaders coming here. They were knocked out of this stage last season by Nottingham Forest. Mikel Arteta says that's not going to happen again. Knows what to expect here, though. His last act as Manchester City's assistant manager was sitting down in the dugout when they won the December 2019 League Cup quarter-final. They won that game, City, but Oxford equalised at one stage and pushed them very, very hard. There'll be a terrific atmosphere here. Not since 1992 have Arsenal gone out in consecutive round three ties. The second of those was away at Wrexham. It's the last time they were beaten by a team from the lower two leagues in the football pyramid. Oxford United 58 places below them, and they've won just once in their last 8 games against top flight sides. Clinton, what do you think is going to happen tonight?
No, I'm glad Arsenal have played quite a strong team with the likes of Saka, Martinelli, because I think it's good for the fans and it's good for the cup tie. One thing I'll start with saying is I love the anti-red, the knife crime. There's too many knife crimes at the moment. So what Arsenal are doing wearing the white kit, I think it shows a great sign. So first and foremost, I want to congratulate Arsenal with that. They did it last season away at Nottingham Forest. I know it's hard to see the numbers, but it is for a great cause.
Yeah, the numbers are white on a white background, so it is a little bit worrying. Oxford United in goal, Ed McGinty, who started the season playing in a European qualifier for Sligo Rovers. The back four for Oxford, Joanne Anderson, who signed in the summer from Lazio. Elliot Moore and Sam Long are the centre-backs, as they were when they played Newcastle at home and pushed them all the way here to extra time the other year. Kieran Brown is the left-back, possibly the player of the year. He turns 25 next week. In midfield, they have 3. Lewis Bate, who's on loan from Leeds United, made his debut at this stage last season at West Ham. Marcus McGann is in there with Cameron Brannigan. Cameron Brannigan, quarter-finalist in the League Cup against Manchester City for Oxford a few years ago. Started his career at Liverpool, you might remember. And then on the right-hand side up front, Josh Murphy, signed this season, brother of Jacob. He's had wretched injury problems. Matty Taylor through the middle. Bristol City fans remember him being the team that beat Manchester United in the League Cup quarter-final back in 2017. And on the left-hand side, Billy Bowden, the Welsh international, son of Paul. Many of you might remember Paul, who played for Swindon, Welsh international himself. Billy Bowden scored 2 against Exeter in the last round. And Arsenal, with a number of changes, the front 3 stay in, as does Gabriel at the back. But in goal, it's Matt Turner, the US goalkeeper, making his FA Cup debut. The right back is Tomiyasu. Rob Holding, winner of this twice, he captains the side. Then you've got Gabriel, and then you've got Kieran Tierney on the left-hand side, Mohamed El Neni and Albert Sambi Lokonga sitting in. Fabio Vieira, his FA Cup debut, the 22-year-old signed in the summer, playing behind Saka, Nketiah and Martinelli. So as far as Oxford's concerned, Clinton, that's a ferocious front 3 coming at them.
Yeah, it's a brilliant front 3, to be fair, and it is the front 3 that usually have been starting the Premier League games in the last 3 or 4 games with Nketiah, Martinelli and Saka. But Oxford have started well. They've been on the front foot. One thing with this game, Jonathan, it'll be a football game, because Oxford, knowing Carl Robinson how I do, he always wants his teams to play out from the back.
How about reputation? Oxford didn't have a bad spell until recently, got them veering up towards the promotion playoff places, but they've got some work to do if they're to get the 11 points off the playoffs. They're only 7 points off relegation. It's been a bit of a up and down season for the League One club, who know they have to move away from here really to secure their future, and I gather conversations are ongoing about that. Holding rises then with Matty Taylor, been a good old centre forward over the years. Matty Taylor played for both Bristol clubs actually, and respected hugely by both, and back in the hands now of Ed McGinty. It's an interesting signing from Sligo Rovers, who's played their last 3. Simon Eastwood, who's back on the bench, has had a calf strain. He's all in slate grey, and he'll look to clear it away downfield then for an Oxford United side who will be looking to create the sort of shot they very nearly created here against Newcastle United when it took a brilliant extra time goal by St Maximin to defeat them. Newcastle came back strongly in that game. That's Sir Elliot Moore, the captain of Oxford, launching it long, direct ball through the middle. Holding scuttles across to get it away for Arsenal, and just nodded back at the heart of the Oxford midfield by Cameron Brannigan. He's been an Oxford player for over 200 games, but he had those 9 matches for Liverpool, including he played in that cup tie down at Exeter, you might remember, when Liverpool were held 0-0 back in 2016. So there's experience in this Oxford side, experience at League One level, and in 1 or 2 players' cases at a higher level. Arsenal try and find Martinelli on the ball. He's lost possession. Now Tierney has to close on Murphy on the right hand side for Oxford. It's a decent cross to the far post and collected and cut out by Matt Turner, the man they signed from New England Revolution back in the summer, and a quick release by him.
Yeah, it was good play from Murphy. I think Murphy and Bolden will play a big part. If you can get the ball out to the wide men, Jonathan, they can cause a lot of problems. Obviously Tierney's coming back into the team, is a good defender, hasn't unlocked the football. Tomiyasu on the other side, but yeah, get it to the wide men, Murphy and Bolden, and as you said with Taylor, he can always score a goal.
Bolden will bring it away, and that's done for Vieira. He stabs it up to the right hand side. Saka. Now here's Tomiyasu, who's made a couple of substitutes appearances in the league recently after the World Cup spell with Japan. Martinelli has it on the left hand side. Tierney's available. He's a couple of yards in from that left, wearing gloves. Has got cold here tonight. His lime green boots, the Brazilian Martinelli. Now holding, chops it long from a right side centre half position, 40 yards, looking for Saka. Saka too strong for the fullback, but it's a foul.
No way.
Insisted on this near side. Libet says foul. Looked just like a good old fashioned shoulder.
Yeah, Keaton Brown's got to be stronger than that. Saka's not, he's little, he's diminutive, but it's great strength from Saka. I think the linesman is football, Jonathan. There's going to be contact. It's good strength from Saka. I think the linesman gets that one wrong.
You know, when you look at Saka, you think he is diminutive. He's 5'10", you know.
No, he's bigger. I need to meet him in real life.
Yeah, but you're 6'9".
This is a joy for me, you know, working with Jonathan Pearce. He knows me from my Palace days. He know me well younger than that, don't you, Jonathan?
Yeah, when you were a young lad, my in-laws used to put up a couple of Palace players, Andrew Martin and Gareth Graham, and some of them were good lads and some of them were bad lads.
Was I the good one?
You were goody two shoes.
Thank you very much.
And maybe some of the stories will come out a little bit later on when the kids have gone to bed. Now that Michael's shocked them all.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can't believe he said that.
No. No. Is this the miracle of 63rd Street, is it? Question, do you believe? We will believe on 5 Live. Here's Martinelli on that left-hand side now to run his fullback just outside the penalty box. 0-0 on 5 Live. Tierney gets it back then to Martinelli. Finds Tierney once again and dispossessed at the expense of a corner kick. I think it was Javan Anderson who got back at him there just to clear it away for it. Might have been actually, I think, was it Murphy? It was Murphy who got back there
Murphy,
to clear it away for a corner. So I think this is the first corner kick of the game and the first of our midweek games on 5 Live. Tomorrow Manchester United, Charlton, Newcastle, Leicester in the League Cup quarter-final. Not so long ago that Oxford United were in that stage. They had some famous cup nights here in recent years, and indeed at the Manor Ground. I remember one sensational game between these two clubs back in the 80s. It's going to be a corner kick that's swung away towards the near post. Little flick on there. And I think it was Samuel Lukonga who got the initial flick on. Then the second crossing by Martinelli was deflected away for an Arsenal corner. Way away to our right-hand side. We're a long way away from that corner flag. We're almost on the edge of the Arsenal penalty area in our commentary position at the back of the south stand, which holds around about 4,000 fans. Sell out tonight. And it's a corner kick then for Arsenal for the second time in a matter of moments. And again it's curled, but deeper this time towards the far post. Gabriel came into danger at set pieces. It's cleared away though, and away towards that far side. And Martinelli swings a lovely ball all the way across the penalty area, where it's headed away well. And it'll be an important night for those wide players to get back and supplement the defence. That was headed away by Brown. I think it's going to be a throw then for Arsenal. Decent start here for the league leaders.
Yeah, really good start, Jonathan. I think it's a big night for Fabio Vieira as well. He hasn't played a lot of football recently. Big night for him. You're looking at it sometimes when you're watching Arsenal in the Premier League, and he says he hasn't got a lot of players attacking options. He has tonight with Smith Rowe back, but for Vieira, it's a big night for him to go and prove his worth for Arsenal and to Arteta.
Saw a lot of him playing for Porto in the European competitions. He's a fine player, the 22-year-old. He was in Portugal's preliminary World Cup squad, and maybe new manager going in there today.
Yeah, you're right.
Martinez might like to give him a chance. You know, he says he's going to have a look at every Portuguese player that was involved in the World Cup and others on the fringes as he beds into that job. That's headed away by Oxford United's centre half, the tall figure back there of Elliot Moore, the captain of the club, and drops into the centre circle, where Vieira nearly won it. It was won indeed there by Lewis Bates. An overhead drops for Martinelli on the far side. He finds Tierney now to take on his fullback to the dead ball line. In comes across and away by Elliot Moore again for a throw into Arsenal on that far side. Clearance away by the former Leicester City man, Elliot Moore. He was a young man there. He didn't play for them, went out on loan to Belgian football, but he was in England under 20 once upon a time. It's going to be a throw for Arsenal. It'll be a long throw, and it'll be taken by Tierney on that left-hand side, who's vied for the left back spot with Zinchenko in recent months, and he'll hurl it into the penalty area now. Quite a deep throw. It's headed back through his own penalty area by Moore. Arsenal try and keep it in, but the pace of the ball just carries it away for a gunner's throw.
Just need to get a foothold, don't they, Jonathan, Oxford? Because if you keep defending like this, evidently you do concede in the end. It started off brightly, but now Arsenal are dominating. You expected that, though. Yes, a superior team.
Tomiyasu will take the throw for Arsenal. It's about 18 yards from the dead ball line. It's on the right-hand side. Boring Arsenal. There's the taunt from the Oxford fans down at that east end, which is away to our right-hand side. Shallow stand. The ground, which is still fairly new, the Kazan, built in 2001, I think it was completed. 22 years of age now. It's put up for around about 15 million. Capacity is 12,500. Their highest crowd here this season is just over 10,000 for the local derby against Wycombe Wanderers. And here's holding. And now El Neni. With a good ball up to Nketiah in the channel, inside left channel, tried to bring it down. And Martinelli was there in support. Martinelli's actually fouled his man, but the referee says go on, and Oxford can now bring it away. And we've got Billy Bowden, deft player on the ball, former Preston North End player, Swindon, Northampton, Bristol Rovers, travelled around a little bit in his career that has taken in over 300 games. And now Elliot Moore given away. Gabriel was there. He's had a much better season this season, Gabriel. I just think Clinton sometimes has a mistake in him. Like there, he's raced the back pass and given Turner work to do.
Yeah, he's a good defender, and you are right. He has had a better season, but there's always a mistake in there, and he just needs to cut that out. He's still a young man, and he's only going to improve working under a good manager like Mikel Arteta.
So as a striker yourself, Were you always aware of defenders with whom there was a mistake?
Yeah, you always say to the other centre forward, I'll go and play on this one because he's got a mistake. I got more chance of getting a goal. But him and Saliba, I think the partnership this season between the two of them has been outstanding.
Well, young Andrew Martin back in the Crystal Palace youth team days used to say he did all your work for you. Now, a chance for Arsenal to build on the Oxford penalty area. Square ball to Saka, who's brought it down right hand corner of the box. Tomiyasu on the over. Oxford are really stretched, and that's a low and sprawling save by the 23-year-old Ed McGinty in that Oxford goal.
Yeah, it's good play from Vieira. He picks a great ball out to Saka, and Saka waits for Tomiyasu to come on the outside of him. It's just a poor ball back from Tomiyasu. Eddie Nketiah is waiting in the 6-yard box where he scores all of his goals, but good move from Arsenal.
McGinty has played in both the cup ties so far, away at Woking when they won 2-1, and then they beat Exeter here by 4-1 in the second round. He's an Irish under-21, and he clears it away, angles out to the left-hand side, where it's helped on by Brown, the ponytailed left full-back, and Turner in that Arsenal goal had to scuttle away to his left-hand side to reach the back pass and turn it out to Tierney. And Arsenal in possession have looked neat and tidy, except with these back passes that have caused Turner one or two problems.
Yeah, they have, because the pitch, you can see there's a lot of bubbles in and amongst that. It's not like the Emirates, this ain't, but they'll always try and play, and that's the one thing you've got to credit Arsenal with. They've been excellent at that. It's great football that is to get out of there. Great ball from Lokonga.
Here's a lovely ball by Lokonga, angled away to Martinelli, who races now deep into the Oxford territory. He's got Tierney on the overlap. There's the cross to the far side. Saka had to stretch and try and bring it down, and Bowden's back for Oxford United at 0-0, and it deflected off him or the Arsenal player last. Well, I have a feeling we don't have monitors here. There's no VAR.
No, you're right, Jonathan. That should have been a corner. It came back off Bowden. Tomiyasu got the blocking, and it came from Bowden. And look how far away we are, and we can see that. And the linesman's literally 20 yards away.
No VAR here again today.
No,
Some have, some don't.
Yeah, because it's only in the Premier League. Premier League grounds that you can get it. So yeah, it is disappointing. But at least we don't have to wait around and wait on decisions. If you score, you score. If the linesman's flag don't go up.
It is weird, isn't it, that car park just behind the goal away to our left. It's almost as if they're in a sort of drive-in football cinema stadium, all parked up there. Then there is a cinema over on the far side, and Frankie and Benny's. Other restaurants are available on that left-hand side. But here's Saka now for Arsenal, and nodded headed back to Tomiyasu. 5 live from the BBC, and it's 0-0 so far. We've been playing 17 minutes. Arsenal are expected, of course, to go through from this stage. They've been out in round 3-4 times in the last 30 seasons, twice in the last 26, both against Nottingham Forest, who I do remember that great shot at Wrexham when they went there as league champions in 1992 and were beaten. Here's Holding. Again, that's a decent diagonal ball out to the heart of midfield, where it's just nudged back by Sami Lokonga to El Neni. Mohamed El Neni seems to have been there for years and years. He's still only 30 years of age. This is his last year of his contract, but he has got an option of another year. Tomiyasu, I think the club have an option actually. Now Saka up to Nketiah, and he's guarded back there by Sam Long, and it's through to the goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's good football. Arsenal look really confident. You can see they're a team top of the Premier League at the moment, playing with bags of confidence. But Oxford will be happy because Carl Robinson would have said, let's not concede in the first 15 minutes, and they've not done that. So you need to stay in the game when you're playing against superior opposition, Jonathan.
Lovely cup tie, really. There's so many little angles on the Oxford side. You know, the long serving Sam Long's a local boy at the back, came to the youth team. That's Matty Taylor, a warhorse up front for them. And they've got youngsters trying to make their name in the game or refine their careers, like Brannigan, the Manchester-born former Liverpool player. Lewis Bate was there last year when he played that debut against West Ham. They took him off after 45 minutes of his debut. Thought it was very cruel.
Good footballer, Bate. Yeah, very good footballer on loan from Leeds. He's an outstanding young talent, and I agree with you on that. It was just an easy option because he's a youngster, Jonathan. That's why they took him off. But he is a good footballer, really talented.
Tonight it's Oxford Arsenal. Tomorrow, as I said, Man U, Charlton, Newcastle, Leicester. Then Wednesday from the Carabao Cup quarterfinals, we have Southampton, Manchester City on 5 Live. Forest against Wolves is on 5 Live Sports Extra, as is that Newcastle Leicester game tomorrow. Arsenal have possession. 90 minutes gone, 0-0. And here's Holding. Right side centre back again, boring.
I haven't heard that for years, Jonathan.
It used to be during the George Graham days,
Yeah, that's
1-0 to the
1-0
Arsenal,
to the
boring
Arsenal. Yeah.
And they used to win a lot, mind you, didn't they? It's a nice piece of full-back play, accomplished piece of full-back play. What a great roar from the crowd as Javan Anderson twisted and turned his way from Martinelli. Needs to get back now to cover the Brazilian. There's a strong challenge on Martinelli. Referee gives no free kick. Martinelli looked aggrieved. The last time they played a team outside the top 2 divisions, Martinelli was badly injured at Portsmouth, was out for a long while. Now Oxford on the attack. A strong challenge there to break it up by Sambi Lokonga, who has had to be patient for minutes this season. The 23-year-old Belgian international.
See, that's what it needed. Brannigan went in and put a strong tackle on Martinelli. It gives the place a lift. That's what you will. You want to make it a proper cup tie.
Oxford look long and look for Billy Bowden between the Arsenal penalty area and the right-hand touchline. And he thinks he's forced to throw. Tomiyasu thought it should have gone the other way, and the referee, David Coote, was lengthy in his musing on it. He's eventually given the throw in to Oxford, and it'll be taken just down below us actually, and it'll be hurled into that penalty area by Kieran Brown, one would have thought. He's the birthday boy of next week, signed in the summer from Cardiff after 4 years there. Originally came here on loan the previous January. He's had a terrific season. He's normally a centre back, but here he is now attacking, trying to get the throw played back to him by Murphy. Murphy is now pressurising Saka, who's back defending for Arsenal. Slips it into his penalty area, and Tomiyasu clears to the halfway line. 0-0, Clint.
Yeah, it's a good game. Oxford are growing into it as well. It is a good cup tie, and that tackle has just lifted Oxford from Brannigan, because you can't make it too easy for them. You're already under pressure because you're playing against a top team, but you can see once you make a tackle, this crowd will get behind you.
Oxford have it. Right side of the Arsenal defence, the Oxford left. Brown, the left back, plays it back to the heart of midfield, and Brannigan is there. Cameron Brannigan. And a long diagonal out towards the right full-back position for Arsenal. Tomiyasu, a yard in from this near touchline, rises. Brown is behind him, and the referee gives a free kick for a challenge by Brown on Tomiyasu.
I'm not sure about that.
Soft.
I think because he's gone up for the header and he's won the header, because Tomiyasu went down, I understand him stopping it, but he's actually gave a free kick against Brown. I thought Brown won the header.
First game in this illustrious competition for Takahiro Tomiyasu. He's just come back from the World Cup with Japan. We had 3 appearances, the 1 start against Croatia.
Been a good signing, Jonathan, for Arsenal. Not many people knew about him before he came to the Premier League, but yeah, he's been outstanding since he's been to Arsenal.
Played for Japan in the Copa America. Yeah, not many people know they were invited into that, but they were a few years back. Now here's Gabriel back to Turner, who's the USA #1, and rolled out to Tomiyasu once again. And Holding's under pressure from Bowden, and he turned neatly away from him, back out to Tomiyasu, who's still only 20 yards from his own dead ball line, slips it down the line. Saka's in a lot of space.
Yes, Brown's got to go. I think he's worried.
But Arsenal haven't done well, and it's played in by McGuane to the edge of the penalty area. Touch back here for an effort that was deflected. Brannigan's effort was deflected on the edge of the Arsenal penalty area, and they're trying to get it away under real Oxford pressure here on 5 Live on the BBC. And eventually Arsenal do lump it out through Holding, but it was a decent spell for Oxford.
Yeah, it was. It didn't give Arsenal no time, and it was good football. And as you said about Lewis Spate in midfield, he looks like their playmaker, Jonathan. Everything goes through him. He's neat and tidy, and he always looks to pass forward, which is brilliant.
Marcus McGuane in that midfield area, let's not forget, was a former Arsenal lad. He was there from schoolboy days, 2005 to 2018. Had a couple of games for them in Europe from the bench, and he's holding that midfield area for Oxford United. He was their under-18 captain at Arsenal, I seem to remember, and he left them to go to Barcelona.
Oh wow!
Didn't play for the first team, but he was at the La Masia training ground with some illustrious players. And he's just beaten to the ball in there though in midfield, and Nketiah dropping deep, tried to find Saka, and Saka stayed down. Brown came through with a challenge, won the ball, might have followed through with a challenge and left the England international down. That's always the risk for Premier League managers playing games like this. The Oxford United players don't have to get the ball out, but they have done.
Yeah, to be fair, Carl Robinson, credit to him, he said put the ball out. The fans are going mad, but whenever Saka goes down, everyone does take a deep breath, because he is such a superstar and is such an important player for Arsenal. It's a good tackle from Keane Brown, but he's all right, Saka.
Carl Robinson, a great example. You don't have to be a top player to be a decent manager. He was a midfielder, but non-league clubs really, 10 of them, and then he became Liverpool youth team coach, MK Don's assistant. He was a fitness coach at Blackburn, then he got his chance at MK where you knew him, he turned down a move to Leeds.
Yeah, he did. And you know, like you say, he thinks he's a top footballer though. When you work with him in training, which I did, I was alone with him at MK Dons, you would have thought he was messy the way he used to talk how he was as a footballer. But he is a very good coach. He is very detailed on the pitch, and he always tries to play football the right way. So I've got a lot of respect for Carl Robinson.
Well, you've known a fair few like that over the years. Young Gareth Graham, Ginge, they used to call him there, as Ginger Hair. He used to think he was
a
Platini, he was a good footballer. He had a terrible injury, to be fair. He's back in Northern Ireland now, living, Clinton.
Yeah, he was a good player, really good player. He got an unfortunate broken leg, and it kind of ruined his career. It was a bad tackle.
It was a decent side, Hayden Mullins was in that side.
Yeah, Hayden Mullins, who went on to go and play at West Ham and Portsmouth, lots of clubs.
Wayne Carlisle.
Yeah, it was good. He's now coaching. Yeah, very good team.
Here's Nketiah for Arsenal, away to the left-hand side. Samuel Okonga's up in support, inside left position, rolls to the touchline. Martinelli with his line boots and his gloves plays it to the edge of the penalty area. Nketiah spins there. He's been closely marked by Elliot Moore, but still manages to find Saka, who's okay now on his feet, being booed by Oxford fans. Don't know why. The cross shot was blocked by the left-back Brown, who then lumps it 30-40 yards to the halfway line, and it comes back to Oxford by Holding. Then they dawdled a little bit and they nearly got caught in there, Billy Bowden, but eventually they cleared away. Long ball, Holding was headed straight to Matty Taylor, unaware really that Taylor was there. 0-0 on 5 Live, and we've been playing now 27 minutes. Not had too many shots on goal. In fact, I can't remember one in the game so far.
Yeah, you're right. I don't think any goalkeeper's been worked at the moment. And as I said, Oxford will be happy with that, because they knew they'd come under a lot of pressure. But yeah, they've kind of grown into this game in the last 5 or 10 minutes.
It's a foul on Tomiyasu by Taylor, and the free kick given against the player who scored against Manchester City in the League Cup quarter-final on this ground.
I don't like that with Gabriel and then he coming around. It's football. You, as a centre forward, you have to use your arm. He tries to use his arm. He's caught Tomiyasu. The referees give the decision. Get on with it. Stop trying to get players booked and that. I just don't like it.
You know, there was this big meeting the other day, you know, football bigwigs from the clubs and the authorities and everything, talking about, oh, should there be FA Cup replay? Should there be League Cup play with under 23 teams? Should the game be an hour long? I mean, that's patent nonsense.
Yeah.
Why didn't they address this issue? Why didn't the clubs all agree to stop their players surrounding referees?
Yeah, and keep waving that imaginary yellow card and red card. Yeah, it is really frustrating, and it's growing more and more into the game nowadays.
Back when you started playing, if you waved an imaginary card at a centre half, you knew what to expect from the centre half.
I was getting a big tackle after that.
And it goes then. Enjoying being with Clinton tonight. And it's played out. Remember, your mum used to go and watch you all the time. And
no, yeah, she still loves football now. She still watches it.
It's brought down by the Oxford centre-back Elliot Moore. To his right-hand side is Sam Long, to his left I should say, and back it goes then to Ed McGinty. He's played in 5 cup ties this season, including a couple of games they played in the Carabao. Here's Tomiyasu, set sail down the Arsenal right-hand side, 4 players ahead of him in this change strip, the no more red strip. He rolls it away and out of play for a goal kick. Well, we're on that little subject of no more red. I think it really highlights the work that Arsenal have done in the community for it's 4 decades now. It's 40 years of Arsenal work in the community. They've done some sterling stuff, as a lot of clubs do, unnoticed. Yeah,
they do. There's a lot of things that go in the community, and it's a big thing. The community kind of at the heartbeat of the football club. You need the community to get involved with the football club, and I think the anti-red what Arsenal are doing, I think is superb.
one of Clinton's old clubs, and let's be honest, he's had 720 of them. Crystal Palace have a warm room, I think, once or twice a week, where people in the community go who can't afford their heating, or live rough. And I know they're not the only club who do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of clubs that do it.
Underneath that is Fabio Vieira, 0-0 here. That ball squirts away to Martinelli, advancing from the centre circle, and then he slips it away to Tierney, who's got work to do. He's covered on that far side by Javan Anderson, but he rolls it back up the line to Lokonga, and infield now is El Neni. Into the penalty area it goes then, and Nketiah will turn here for Arsenal. He's got the centre half more tucked up behind, but there's still space to find Martinelli on the left. His cross in the middle found Arsenal lightweight in there. Only Saka was in there for them. And Oxford had 4 yellow-shirted defenders back in that box. It stays 0-0.
Yeah, they defended well. Long and Moore at the back. Every time the ball's gone into the box, them two have won the header. Kean Brown's doing a good job against Saka. And Anderson, it's a good battle with Martinelli because he's got a lot of pace to full back.
Arsenal have possession just inside the Oxford half. Tomiyasu swung it up to Nketiah, and it rolls away from him. And I think that's a flag anyway for offside. It's the 10th time these two sides have locked horns. The first in exactly 20 years. January 2003, Arsenal won 2-0. Dennis Bergkamp got his 100th goal for the club that day, and Arsenal went on to win the trophy. And it's going to be a free kick here for Oxford for offside. Mind you, away, Arsenal away at Oxford. I don't think they've won away at Oxford. And there was that big cup tie I was telling you about that Oxford won 3-2, I think it was, back in the 80s, as they now look long for Taylor to the dead ball line. He chased it with Holding. He's crashed into an advertising hoarding there. He thinks it should have been a corner, but a goal kick is given.
Yeah, it was a good kick from McGinty, and Turner should have really come and helped his defence. It went over Holding. For me, Taylor was trying to get it back across, and I think the referee makes the right decision. It was a goal kick.
That game back in the 80s, John Aldrich went off with a head injury, and then he went to the dressing room. It should have been the end of the game, and he told them, "No, I'm coming back on." And there was no one believed him. And I don't know what he had scored in the game. Don't think he got the winner, but he came back on. A great roar at the old Manor Ground, which is surrounded by leafy streets, tree-lined streets, on the other side of Oxford. He's Holding with possession now for Arsenal deep inside his own. If you listen to 5 Live on BBC, and on BBC Sounds, you're hearing Arsenal 0-0. The league lead is being held at League One Oxford on a weekend of FA Cup shocks. Here's Holding. What a shock it was at Villa Park yesterday. Stevenage late on, but sensational. Cardiff Leeds, brilliant games. Stolen back for Oxford by Murphy, back helping out his right back, Anderson. And then the goalkeeper down on one knee, sorts himself out. I'm not too sure why he was needed to sort himself out there, but he'll clear it away now. Ed McGinty. That European Conference qualifier he played for earlier this season was for Sligo against Bala Town. That was the end of his career there, roughly. That was his last game, actually. He'll clear it away now. Once they went out of Europe, he clears it long into the Arsenal half. Up goes Holding. Rose there with Billy Bowden. And it's offside against Taylor. Free kick Arsenal.
Yeah, he's got to come back on. It's harder because I know he's just playing as the lone centre forward. He's making a lot of runs, but he has to get back on side because has to give his team a breather.
Out from centre back comes Gabriel Magalhães, the uncapped Brazilian player. He was in the Olympic squad last time round, but he pulled out injured. And Tierney, advancing from the left-hand side, has it. But runners ahead of him. He's carried a long way before the release to Saka. Saka has 4 Arsenal players in the box. Back to Tomiyasu. Tried a little lob ball into the middle, and it's away in there by Brannigan for Oxford United. Or rather, it was Lewis Bates who got it away for Oxford United. Now Arsenal switch to the left, and it's pushed into the penalty area, and Lokonga has a drive and claims a penalty. And Arsenal players immediately run to the referee, 3 of them, 4 of them, totally unseemly. They surround the referee, David Cook. There is no VAR here. He has to make a decision there and then, and his decision there and then is that it wasn't handball. We don't have monitors up here, so I can't tell you whether it was.
Yeah, we can't. Obviously, we don't have monitors, and we can't see from here, but there was 5 or 6 of them surrounding the referee again. obviously he's made his decision. Even if you think it's a penalty, you don't need 5 or 6 players to keep going and surrounding the referee. He's not going to change his mind.
We're hearing from the studio that the ball definitely hit the arm of the defender.
Yeah, but is his hand still by his side? If it's out, then it should be a penalty, but if it's still by his side...
His hand was out as he's reaching towards the ground to steady himself. Well, in that case, it's not a penalty. If the ball is chipped to the edge of the 6-yard area, if you're trying to brace yourself to impact on the ground and it hits your arm, that is not a penalty under the current application. Arsenal chip it into the box, looking for Gabriel, who's stayed forward, and it's cleared away. Holding played a part, releasing wide to the right. Saka looks for Nketiah in the middle, and Oxford now, Clinton, are under pressure.
Yeah, they are under pressure. Arsenal have turned it up again, and they've been good though in the wide areas. In particular, Saka and Martinelli are causing problems. Vieira's getting into pockets, and I tell you, he's been good. Lokongo in midfield, really good.
Yeah, he was signed from Belgian football, from Anderlecht, and he's only had 38 games now for Arsenal since the move, which was in the summer of 2021. He's learning his trade as a Premier League footballer, and still relatively young at 23. As Arsenal try to get Tomiyasu through into the penalty area, overcooks the touch, and McGinty will come and gather. 0-0, and we've been playing 36 minutes on 5 Live.
And you know, in that decision, I think referee Coote's in a good position anyway. He's in a brilliant position to see if it is. And yeah, it is hard when you don't have VAR, because VAR might have overturned it. But once he's made his decision, you're not going to change his mind.
Oxford look for Matt Taylor, and it's a lovely little flick off, and a chip into the Arsenal box. Finds Tierney under a little bit of pressure. Murphy was behind him, having to head it away. Then Bate, and here's McGuane out to this left-hand side now. And Matty Taylor has it. He stayed wide on the left for Oxford United. Bates has it now. Back towards the former Arsenal youngster, McGuane. In turn off to Brown. Brown releases left-footed back to the centre circle. And there's Elliot Moore to slip it to the right-hand side, and Javan Anderson. And he trundles on a diagonal run into the centre circle. The Amsterdam-born former Ajax youngster.
He looks lively, to be fair, Jonathan. He looks like he wants to play. He looks like he's quick. He loves getting forward. He's impressed me in the first half.
He got him on a free. And, he's come in from Lazio. He only played 10 games there in 4 years, but he's played at Bari, he's played at Campbell, he's played at a different decent level. Arsenal got a man down.
I think Vieira got a late one on his ankle.
He stayed down. He's picking himself up now. No, he's not on the halfway. He's rolled over. Arsenal in possession meanwhile. Tierney to Martinelli, left-hand side. Vieira's up limping, but holding his outside of his right thigh. Arsenal meanwhile still on the attack. Martinelli. Big, long, looping Tierney cross all the way through the penalty area and away, and out of play to the derision of the hooting Oxford fans.
We've got a lot of Arsenal, I think, in this press office, because as soon as he crossed that, everyone put their hands in their head in their hands, sorry, and this was like really disappointing. But yeah, he's got to show better quality there, Tierney.
Robertson's side coming into this tie on the back of one win from the last 6 league games. That was a 3-1 victory over Charlton, last game of 2022. They were in the drop zone in October, and then they went on an unbeaten 8-game run into the top half, and that will still be Carl Robinson's ambitions, really, to get this team into the playoffs.
Yeah, I was reading his programme notes. He said they need to go on a fantastic run, but he's still got ambition that they can. But then League One is so tight as well, Jonathan.
Remember when they were in the first division, the old first division, Oxford United, and Robert Maxwell and Jim Smith did a wonderful job, got them promoted, and then he left in a wages dispute with Maxwell, who was such a controversial character. Ended up in disgrace, not the only one in his family, of course. Controversial family over the years, but they were high days and heydays for Oxford United back in the day. And they have a free kick here, Arsenal, back inside their own half, deep inside their own half, and a little bit of truculence as Marcus McGuane was holding on to the ball, and El Neni didn't like it. Now he's taken the free kick in the wrong position, so it's rolled all the way back to where the infringement was. It was offside on the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. You'd never have argued with the referee, would you?
I argue all the time, me. So I can't moan at these Arsenal players for having a moan.
There's a throw to Oxford halfway line. There was a strong challenge there by McGuane on Arsenal player Vieira. He's not being allowed any sort of time in the game at all, is he, Clint?
No, he's not. He's not. McGuane, Bate and Brannigan are onto him. He's in that number 10 where Odegaard usually plays, and it's up to him now to try and find a bit of space in that number 10 role. But yeah, he's been quiet so far in the game.
Out of the Porto squad that won the league twice, and the cup, he was there when he was there 14 years. He's only 22 now. That shows you how young he was when he signed there. Signing boys very, very young. I didn't know until today you were a Tottenham boy when you were a kid.
Yeah, I was there right up until I was 16, and then went to Palace and did YTS, and the rest is history.
Throw down the line by Brown, the left back for Oxford United, headed it away. And it's going to be a throw then to Oxford. Who was your Tottenham hero when you were a boy then?
Well, when I was there, I used to ball boy at White Hart Lane. It was Jurgen Klinsmann, because I was in and around that time, and he was scoring goals for fun. Amazing.
And one of the nicest men in football.
Exactly.
What a gent.
Yeah.
Well, we've had 40 minutes play, approaching the 41-minute mark, and it's a throw-in for Oxford on the left-hand side. Brown, the fullback, long into that penalty area. Samuel Lokonga got a touch to it. Tierney has to stoop to head it away, but Oxford still have possession now. With Anderson, the right back. Oh, he's lost out to the fleet-footed Martinelli, who speeds over the halfway line. Anderson chasing back against the Brazil. He's wide. He's gone wider, and in comes a good challenge.
He does well, because he loses it, and you're thinking Martinelli in them positions, he goes past the fullback, but Anderson does well, and he times his tackle brilliantly. It's a brilliant battle over there between Martinelli and Anderson.
Going to be a throw to Arsenal. It's what, 16 yards from the dead ball line. It's left hand side. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players in that Oxford penalty area. Oxford have got all 10 yellow and blue shirts back. In comes the throw in then. It's cleared by an Oxford man. Taylor hesitates before he can get it away. Gabriel rolls a sensible ball out wide to Tierney. That's good closing play.
Yeah, Murphy does well there. He stops the cross. It's brilliant from Murphy. He just gets out there and stops Tierney from crossing it.
He was out the first 2 months of the season, having joined from Cardiff. And he was out from October through until, well, this game really. Came on as a substitute the other day as the long throw comes in. It's touched on, and then Eddie Nketiah tries a little flick inside the 6-yard area that goes wide. But Arsenal have had an effort on goal.
Yeah, they have, and I don't think Eddie Nketiah knows much about it. It's flicked on at the near post, and he has to react so quickly, and it's one of those as a centre forward, it instantly hits you, and it could go in, but it flew over the bar. But yeah, first opportunity at goal for Arsenal.
Did the Newcastle game the other day for Match of the Day, the 0-0, and he heftily criticised on social media afterwards Eddie Nketiah for not getting into poaching situations, you know.
But that's his game. Couldn't criticise Nketiah. He had a good opportunity where Pope made a really good save in and around the 6-yard box. I think he's come in and done well. There were always going to be big shoes to fill in Gabriel Jesus, because Jesus has been outstanding for Arsenal.
I thought he worked really hard that day,
Yeah.
Nketiah.
If you're feeding off scraps sometimes, it's going to be difficult, and he did have an opportunity, but Pope made a really good save.
Arsenal's North London derby against Spurs next Sunday, one of 5 games we have for you on the 5 Live network. Brighton, Liverpool, 3 o'clock, followed by Brentford, Bournemouth at 5:30 on Saturday, and Sunday on 5 Live, Chelsea, Palace at 2, 5 Live Sports Extra, Newcastle, Fulham's at 2, and then that big Spurs-Arsenal clash, 5 Live, 4:30 on Sunday. And the Arsenal women Chelsea women game, by the way, is on Sports Extra at 12 o'clock on Sunday. The resumption of the WSL after the winter break, new signings, new excitement. It's a throw to Oxford United in a cup tie that hasn't really caught a light. 7 changes for the Arsenal. Gabriel stayed in, the front 3 stayed in, and Oxford are thwarting them. No, they haven't really had a decent effort. They've had a decent amount of the ball.
No, they have. It's been a good cup tie. I know we ain't had a lot of chances, but it's been competitive. There's been tackles going in, and the atmosphere's been good from both sets of fans.
Brown takes the throw in on the right hand side to the edge of the 6-yard area. Moore was there. It's a good header away though. Arsenal this season have been more resolute defensively, that's for sure. Is that a foul? Yeah, it's against Nketiah. Pulled his man back on that far side from us on the halfway line. Lewis Bate went to ground, the player who is on loan for Leeds United, and it's going to be a free kick
It's a good football. He's a good footballer, and to come and play in League One in a team like Oxford who tries to play the right way, it will suit him because he's technically a really good footballer. Bay is.
Comes from the south, comes from Sidcup down in Kent, was at Footscray Lions down there, and the Chelsea schoolboy before leaving for Leeds, and then here on loan, England under 20 international, young Lewis Bate. In comes that free kick, and it's headed away again by Gabriel. There's an offside flag raised a wee bit late.
Lazy Taylor, he's in the offside. I know centre forwards because we've all done it. We're starting in an offside position, but as soon as Murphy takes the free kick, he doesn't try to get back onside. It's lazy centre forward play.
Return of the prodigal here, Matty Taylor, Oxford lad, his second spell after travelling around. He played non-league football in this area as well. Didcot he played for a long while back, slightly west of Forest Green. Holding looks away towards that far side and delivers the ball out to Tierney, who had to rush out before he rolls it on to Martinelli. Martinelli rides the challenge of Murphy, pulls inside to Tierney into the penalty area, high and awkward for Eddie Nketiah to take. Really difficult ball for the centre forward to control, can't do, and Oxford lump it into that Arsenal half again where a flag is raised against Taylor. Marginally went too early.
Because he's still in the offside position, he needs to just get back onside, because the ball from Murphy, I don't know if he was looking for him, but it was a clip down the line, but nearly turned into a great ball. He's just got to get back onside.
Well, the half-time whistle comes here, Clinton. We've seen nothing from Oxford in terms of attacks on the Arsenal goal, and we've only really seen the Nketiah effort wide for the league leaders. It's a cup tie that's had abrasive qualities, and it's had endeavour and industry, but it's had no goals.
No, it hasn't. Arsenal have dominated, and you expect that, being, as I said, they are the better team playing at the higher level, but Oxford have defended well, and they ain't created anything. I think they're looking for the long throw from Kean Brown on this left-hand side to cause problems, but Arsenal have defended well, but Arteta will want them to sharpen up in that final third.
Chappers, it's 0-0 here at half-time.
Well, Clinton, as far as Oxford are concerned, all it takes is for them to nick one, doesn't it?
Yeah, they'll be happy, Chappers. That would have been Carl Robertson's game plan. You can see it. They're taking their time over the throw-ons, and all they're thinking is give us one big opportunity, and if we can tuck it away, the pressure's on Arsenal. But yeah, Arsenal have dominated, Chappers, but just haven't been clinical in that final third.
Second half on the way here on 5 Live. 8:47, Dan Maudsley has the news.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thousands of NHS patients in England will be moved into care homes as part of the government's plans to ease pressures on hospitals. £250 million of extra funding has been announced to buy up beds in nursing homes and increase A&E capacity. Labour's called the money a sticking plaster. Here's the Shadow Health Secretary, Wes Streeting.
Did the Health Secretary listen to himself? Has he described the situation in hospitals of people waiting on chairs for discharge, sees the trolleys in the corridors and people waiting longer than ever? Whose fault is it? Not the NHS staff he's threatening to sack, Mr. Speaker. It's the Conservative ministers who've made disaster after disaster. After 13 years of Conservative government, it's clear. The longer they are in power, the longer patients will wait.
Unions say there's been little progress in talks with ministers trying to find a way through the current disputes in education, health and transport. Nurses and ambulance staff are both still expected to strike again later this week, with the Royal College of Nursing describing the talks as bitterly disappointing. 2 British volunteer workers have been reported missing in the eastern Donetsk region of Ukraine. The men, who are aged 28 and 48, were last seen on Friday heading towards an area where fighting has intensified in recent days. The government's announced it's scaling back its support to businesses with their energy bills. From April, the new 12-month scheme will offer a discount on rates rather than a cap. It means non-domestic customers will receive a lower subsidy than they're currently getting. Clive Watson is chairman of City Pub Group.
But it's not just the energy increases for ourselves, it's the energy costs increases to our consumers. And if we don't have a confident consumer, then that obviously weighs on our confidence to go and expand the business.
And the first ever orbital space launch from British soil is just hours away. A Virgin Orbit 747 jumbo jet is due to take off from Newquay Airport in Cornwall tonight, carrying a rocket that will launch mid-air over the Atlantic.
BBC 5 Live. The EFL Cup.
The quarter-finals. On Tuesday night at 8, Charlton Athletic travel to Old Trafford to take on Manchester United.
Into the penalty area. That's an amazing goal. Marcus Rashford.
on Wednesday night at 8, it's Southampton v Manchester City.
To De Bruyne, hangs it in, header, goal! Nick Tanaki!
The EFL Cup on 5 Live and BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman.
Goalless between Oxford and Arsenal in the FA Cup third round, and we will have the second half in just over 10 minutes or so. Let's check in now, though, on the Masters snooker at Ali Pali. First round action, Jamie Broughton.
And we're watching the two-time champion John Higgins take on Jack Lazowski this evening. Higgins made a brilliant break of 142 in the third frame of the evening, but he trailed 3-1 at the mid-session interval. The Scottish legend then knocked in a 79 break after the interval to reduce the arrears to 3-2. He's had chances early on in this frame 6, but he's not been able to take them. And Lazowski is back at the table with a good chance to further increase his lead here. He's on a break of 20. Meanwhile, the 7-time winner Ronnie O'Sullivan has booked his place in the quarterfinals. He made back-to-back centuries as he wrapped up a 6-1 victory.
You can watch the Masters on the iPlayer, the BBC Sport app, and on the BBC Sport website. Now, the Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin has been discharged from the hospital in Cincinnati and is being transferred to another medical facility in Buffalo for further tests and observation. He suffered a cardiac arrest on the field a week ago. Journalist Dan Fates covers the Bills for 13 WHAM. Evening, Dan.
Evening, Mark. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you very much for coming on. I mean, you've just come off a Zoom conference call with his doctors. So what have they said on that?
They are ecstatic, Mark, from the progress that Damar Hamlin has made. Like you said, I was in Cincinnati at the game a week ago when he went into cardiac arrest, and there was a lot of uncertainty. But they are saying that he was able enough to fly back to Buffalo today, being discharged from the hospital. He's been up walking around, eating a regular diet since Friday. He was able to watch the Bills game on yesterday. He said he was jumping up and down in the ICU, ecstatic the response, and they are just very, very pleased for the response for Damar Hamlin.
Yeah, I mean, you tweeted that, didn't you? When they returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown, the Bills. I think you said I think he set off every alarm in the ICU.
That's exactly right. They said he was all healthy. It was all good. He's setting off the alarms. It was just the excitement and the energy that he was able to show and be able to jump up and down. I think is all great signs. Where his progress is, the doctors at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center are still waiting to see. They said it's still too early to diagnose about when he could return to the possible football field, but they are now transferred over to Buffalo General, a hospital back in Buffalo, and they will monitor him from there.
Quite an emotional day for him yesterday, wasn't it? I mean, he tweeted, "Watching the world come together around me on Sunday was truly an amazing feeling." I mean, I know all the Bills jerseys all had a number 3 on them on the front, didn't they? A lot of the coaching staff for all franchises wore hoodies that were a tribute to Hamlin. The Broncos in their game put the 3 on the 30-yard line in the Bills' colours as well. Yeah. He actually must have found yesterday incredibly emotional.
Absolutely. The doctor said they confirmed that he did obviously watch the game. And I think it was emotional for not only Buffalo, not only for Damar, but football fans and sports fans kind of around the world. A lot of people were rattled by it, myself in general. And to see a week last week that pretty much began with tears and tears of sadness and tears of unknown, kind of ended yesterday in tears of joy. And to see Damar Hamlin tweeting from his hospital bed, to tweet pictures, was really... A lot of people needed it, myself included, the Bills included. Josh Allen, the Bills' star quarterback, said that returning the opening kickoff was a spiritual moment, that it was a bone-chilling moment. And it was one of those games, one of those moments that I don't think anybody's going to forget around here anytime soon.
Is there, I mean, I don't know, you may not know this, is there a sense that neutrals would quite like the Bills to win the Super Bowl?
Yes, I think for a long time, the Bills have kind of been this darling underdog, scrappy team from a blue collar city in Buffalo and of upstate New York. Nothing flashy really about anything about the team, but they have garnered a lot of love and respect and resiliency over these last few days for sure.
Thanks for coming on, Dan. Appreciate it.
Appreciate
Dan
it,
Fates, radio journalist who covers the Buffalo Bills. A few other sports stories for you. Owen Farrell's participation in the Six Nations hangs in the balance. He was cited by the RFU for a dangerous tackle against Gloucester on Friday night. He'll face a disciplinary hearing tomorrow evening. Gareth Bale has announced his retirement from football. The 5-time Champions League winner ends his career as Wales' most capped male player and record men's goal scorer. Meanwhile, the France captain Hugo Lloris has announced his international retirement as well. Chelsea are close to agreeing a loan deal for Atletico Madrid forward João Felix until the end of the season. In the women's game, Gemma Granger has extended her deal as Wales manager until 2027. Aston Villa have signed Lucy Staniforth on loan from Manchester United. FA Cup tonight, League Cup quarter-finals the next couple of evenings here on 5 Live Sport. Manchester United against Charlton on 5 Live tomorrow. Newcastle Leicester on Sports Extra. Charlton's new manager, Dean Holden, will join Kelly pre-match on the show tomorrow evening. We're joined this evening by Charlton's Director of Football, Steve Gallen, and I'm guessing this has come as a nice surprise, this trip to Old Trafford. You didn't plan for this at the start of the season.
Hi, Mark. No, we didn't. As you can imagine, at the start of the season, the full focus is get a squad together that can challenge at the top of the league. And but we've got to this stage now where we're in January and we unbelievably have got Man United away, and everybody's really looking forward to it.
And quite a good, fairly recent or new test for your recently appointed manager, Dean Holden.
Brilliant for Dean. I mean, Dean actually came into the club on the day we played Brighton in the last round. And I've got to give a lot of credit to young Anthony Hayes, who took the team on that day. Anthony Hayes was interim manager and Jason Pearce supported him. We put on a great show, superb defensive show in particular against Brighton, and we ended up drawing the game and then beating them on penalties. So Dean was sat next to me in the stand, and we were laughing about it, that one of his first games was going to be at Manchester. At Old Trafford.
Says a lot for your players, doesn't it? Because, well, as many seasons have been at Charlton, it's upheaval again, and you've changed manager, all sorts going on over the ownership of the club, and whether that's going to change hands, and your players have just got on with the job, really.
Got to give them a lot of credit for keeping their discipline and their focus on the football. We had a bad run of results there really before Dean Holden came in. But I've got to say the game against Brighton really lifted everybody, lifted the players. They were superb that day, lifted the club. And then obviously to get this draw, Man United away, it's really been exciting for everybody. And I've got to say it's a nice distraction from the league, although it's given us a boost. We've won our last 2 league games, and fingers crossed we can keep that going on Saturday, Barnsley at home.
Did you feel like you needed a lift as well? Because a director of football is looking both up and down, aren't they? You know, you've got both sides of the coin to deal with.
Mark, do you know what? I've been at the club nearly 6 years now, and there's been so many issues off the pitch. You just got to keep full focus. I go tunnel vision, in particular at this time of the year, because it's the transfer window. And all I think about is trying to get a few good players into this football club, improve the squad, improve the team. And of course, I'm desperate for us to win football matches. We really, really want to move up the league. We're mid-table. I think we're underachieving with the squad that we've got. But again, I'll go back to why I'm on tonight to talk about the Man United game. I mean, it's a superb distraction, fully deserved by everybody, but none more than the fans. They really, really, really deserve something big like this. And Mark, we're taking 9,000 fans up to Old Trafford tomorrow. It's a superb effort.
I mean, I know it's a bit of a cliche at this stage when you have big League One clubs, and you are a big League One club, you know, but it doesn't half show the potential that is there if you get it right. I mean, to take 9,000 to Old Trafford from South London on a Tuesday night with no trains running back south. I mean, I'd be surprised, actually, you know, how many trains are running north, actually, for those fans to get on originally. That is some going.
It is a great effort, to be honest. It is. And I've been at the club a few years, and I've seen when we've had the big games, Doncaster at home in the playoff semi-final a few years back, 27,500 there. It's the best atmosphere I've ever been at for a league game or a playoff game. And then to take 9,000 up to Old Trafford tomorrow, you're right. There's no trains home, so everyone's going to have to stay up or come back, drive back down or wait to get there the next day. Superb effort, and you're right. Whoever does take over our football club, it is a sleeping giant. It can really move through the gears pretty quickly with the right support.
Wish you well tomorrow night. Thanks for coming on, Steve. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Good stuff. Charlton's Director of Football, Steve Gallen, with us on 5 Live Sports. So tomorrow, Manchester United against Charlton is here on 5 Live, and Newcastle-Leicester is on Sports Extra. And Dean Holden, the new Charlton manager, will join Kelly Cates pre-match. Tomorrow, Arsenal are already back out at Oxford. Don't know if the home side have joined them. Can't quite see on my monitor at the moment. Let's rejoin Clinton Morrison and Jonathan Pearce.
And Chappers, 11,538 others who are here today. 1,700 of them are from Arsenal. It is a sellout. The average league crowds here this season, just under 8,000. It was nearly 8,500 last season, reflective, I guess, of Oxford's in and out league form. Their team has not come out yet for the second half. There are no Arsenal changes. They're all there away to our right-hand side, so I'll quickly run listeners through their team again. In goal is Matt Turner, the USA #1 goalkeeper, who played in all 4 of their games in Doha. The back 4 is Tomiyasu, Holding, Gabriel, who stays in, and Tierney. And then El Neni and Sambi Lokonga, who's played well. The holding midfield players, Fabio Vieira, we've seen very little of him, and Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli, and Eddie Nketiah, the front 3. They all stay in. Oxford, who haven't scored in any of their last 5 games against Arsenal. In fact, the last Oxford player to net against Arsenal was Billy Hamilton in May 1986 in the old First Division. That was 3-0. They've come out for the second half again without any changes. So in goal for them is Ed McGinty. And then the right back is Javan Anderson. The Dutch player, Elliot Moore, Sam Long are the centre-backs, and Kieran Brown, the left fullback, who takes the long throws. Lewis Bates, Marcus McGuane and Cameron Brannigan are in midfield, with Billy Bowden on the left, Josh Murphy on the right, and Matty Taylor through the middle. And Arsenal kick us off and underway. And back to goalkeeper Matt Turner, who's advanced 35 yards out of his goal to receive the kick-off and then crack it out towards the far side, and it's a throw to Oxford. I haven't seen that in a long while from a kick-off a goalkeeper like that.
No, especially not Arsenal, the way they always want to keep it, don't they? But it was a plan, obviously, that they've worked on. Go back to Turner, hit Tomiyasu, but he won the header, but he went out for a throw-on. But yeah, sometimes teams do that to get them up the field and not go backwards.
Arsenal look for Nketiah, and he's isolated here with the Oxford defender. He's got a player to his right-hand side, doesn't bring him in, looks left, and he should have played it to his right-hand side, really, but the opportunity was there. Sambi Lokonga finds Martinelli. Now back to Tierney, and Arsenal have Fabio Vieira making inroads into the box, and he wasn't fouled. And that's a good early opportunity. And now the shirt on Martinelli's back rippling. The wind must be much stronger down there than we thought. Deceptive. It's going to be a corner kick to Arsenal. Started the second half strongly. Clinton could have been stronger still.
Yeah, and Nketiah just got to slide that inside Anderson, the fullback. Martinelli was making a great run. Instead, he chose the safe option, played it to Lokonga, and the attack went backwards.
Corner kick then for Arsenal. We haven't had too many of those in the game. I don't think Oxford have had one. This is only Arsenal's 4th, and it will be taken down below us by this 22-year-old talented Portuguese international from Santa Maria do Feira via Porto Football Club to Arsenal. And to the near post it goes, and there's a run in there towards the near post area by Martinelli. Oxford clear it back then towards Vieira, has Sambi Lokonga to his left-hand side. He's a tall and upright midfield player from Verviers in Belgium. Belgium international. His family, I think, come from DR Congo originally. He was eligible for them. And he's down below us now with a little touch down the line attempted as Anderson comes in, Murphy comes in to meet him and makes the challenge, and the ball ricochets away for a throw. And the big talking point of the first half is that Arsenal felt they should have had a penalty for handball, not given by David Coote, the referee. No VAR here. Does seem to be a ludicrously iniquitous situation that there are VAR games in the FA Cup and not in others. and that's going to be a throw to Oxford on that far side.
You know what I'd like to see tonight? Smith Rowe. He's on the bench, and I feel like such a talented young individual. Obviously, he's been out for quite some time. Love to see him get a few minutes this evening because he's an exciting player.
Yep, it's very remiss of me, and I apologise for Arsenal fans listening all around the globe tonight to us. Emil Smith Rowe is back on the bench. He has been out since September. He had an injury that necessitated a operation, I think, and he's a talented young man who I think, had he progressed at the start of the season as he was progressing last season, might have been in Gareth's plan.
Yeah, he would have definitely been. He's in Gareth's radar. He might have had an outside chance of going to the World Cup. A guy like him, I think he's a special talent, and I'm glad to see he's back involved.
Now Oxford are in here. Taylor into the penalty. Out comes the goalkeeper to thwart him. Wasn't exactly a full-blooded challenge on the goalkeeper, but mind you, I think Matt Taylor knew it was running away from him and always likely to be Turners. They were very nearly in behind that.
It's a chance because the linesman doesn't put his flag up, to be fair. Gabriel's complaining, and it's just one long ball, and I think Taylor, instead of taking a touch, he lets it go beyond him, and he's then stretching, but Turner does well. He spreads himself ever so well, makes a good save.
A couple of texting from people asking me what was the other time Arsenal were knocked out at this stage. I mentioned Wrexham, I mentioned the 2 against Forest. It was Millwall at home in a replay at Highbury. I should remember, I was there that night. So here's Arsenal now defending, with Gabriel back inside his own penalty area, and he's just shepherded that ball out of play. And I know Holding has been at the club much longer than him, of course, and is the older player, but Gabriel is the senior centre-back in there, and it's playing like it, actually.
Yeah, he is. He's been, as I said, we said earlier about him making a few mistakes, but I think he's been brilliant this season alongside Saliba. They've been the core of that, and them two have been so good. That's why Ben White is now doing ever so well at right-back, because them two were so strong at centre-back. But credit to Gabriel. There was a lot of talk, I think, last season of him maybe moving on, but he's now down a place and been brilliant so far this season.
Arsenal need to improve, otherwise there is a sniff of a shock about the place. Only beaten Swansea from the top flight in their last 8 meetings against elite clubs. That was in the 3rd round in 2016. It is Martinelli now for Arsenal. That's a lovely run, twisting and turning, lays the ball into the penalty area, and it's blocked back in there by the hard-working Lewis Bate. He'll now put a shift in, the 20-year-old loanee from Leeds United, but it was a good Martinelli run, twisting and turning. What are they appealing against here now? What are the Arsenal players complaining about?
They wanted a corner, but it's give it as a throw-on, so it's not a corner, it's a throw-on. But that's what they wanted. They wanted it to be a corner.
Well, when you've got Kieran Tierney's long throws, sometimes it can be as good as a corner because of the slightly different angle he'll take with it. And he's got 2 at the near post. Gabriel is in there, and Edin Nketiah is just behind. The throw will come in now for Arsenal into that penalty box, and it's headed away, easily headed away, and out towards Taylor down below us. He's pushed in the back by Samuel Lokonga, and it's going to be a free kick then for Oxford United, who lie 15th in League One, up against the champions. It's wishful thinking for Arsenal fans.
They'll be happy though if you're saying that now. If you give it to them now, Arsenal, they'll be happy with that.
Well, I was watching the game yesterday on telly. I turned over from the Chelsea game. I thought that was a done deal, and watched Aston Villa Stevenage, and my oldest for some reason has suddenly taken a penchant for Stevenage. It's not his club, but he's taken an interest, and he kept saying, "This game will turn, Dad, this game will turn." In the last 2 minutes I said, "No, it won't. Turn over." And it turned.
Yeah, brilliant result.
It's going to be a free kick for Arsenal now inside their own penalty area. And there are boos from the Oxford fan.
I think Kean Brown's gone for it, and he's used his arm to manoeuvre Lokonga out the way. So I think referee Cook gets it right.
And I don't think he's had a bad game, the referee.
No, he's done well.
It hasn't been easy for him.
It's tough. It's tough. It has been tough because you got the players coming up to him. But I think he's refereed so well. I can't believe I'm praising the referee, but he has done it. Ref so well. So far, so good.
Now challenged by Brown as he tries to win it back down the Oxford left-hand side in his own half. Arsenal look for Saka, who goes down in front of the travelling Arsenal fans. No free kick is given there for the challenge on him. and it's cleared by Oxford United into the Arsenal half. Again, it's rather Route 1 stuff. Long ball up, Tomiyasu clears it away. They've got a chance now to advance the edge of the penalty area. In comes the low cross, looking inside that penalty area for Brannigan, who got forward inside the 6-yard barrier. He then chases out wide to close on the Arsenal defender, Tomiyasu, to stop the clearance away. Bowden gets to the dead ball line. In comes his cross, and Turner, that's good athletic goalkeeping to come and claim from the man from Park Ridge, New Jersey, and he was fouled according to the referee as well.
Yeah, it was good play though, good feet from Bowden on that left-hand side, and yeah, Brannigan done well. And they're getting more bodies forward now, Arsenal, but Arsenal will be happy with that. But then once they win the ball back, they can just break with the pacey players they've got up front.
There's Gabriel, Arsenal centre-back, turns it left of centre and away towards his right side of the defence to Holding on an angle. He plays it to the right touchline. 0-0 on 5 Live, 53 minutes gone. Back to Holding. He's 10 yards inside his own half in this change kit for Arsenal, all white. And let us remind you, it reflects their No More Red campaign against knife crime, which is such an important campaign and highly praiseworthy, the work they are doing. Headed away at the back for Oxford United by the tall, dark-haired figure of Elliot Moore, and Arsenal have it back inside their own half. Holding has plenty of time, played in the cup final of 2017 against Chelsea, and then the repeat victory against the same opposition 3 years later. He's played right centre-back of a 3 that day, and he looks long for the run of Sambi Lokonga. It veers slightly to the right-hand side, and the error is there for Arsenal. The ball laid back here to Saka. Arsenal have got bodies over. Saka goes for goal, and it's blocked and cleared away by Lewis Bate back inside his 6-yard area. Again, he's covered a lot of ground to get back there and clear the danger. That was going in.
It was brilliant. The ball from Holding is brilliant. The run from Vieira, the back heel to Saka. Saka does well, cuts inside, but it's brilliant from Lewis Bate clearing it off the line. But that's more what you expect of Arsenal. Brilliant play from Arsenal, but brilliant defending from young Bate.
That's the closest we've come to a goal.
Yeah.
On 5 Live and BBC Sounds. However you're listening to us, thank you very much for joining us, and stay with us for the rest of the week. Some football, great football we have to come for you on the BBC. In comes the corner ball, low and flat to the near post, and Martinelli tried to flick it on. It's deflected away, and that's going to be another corner kick then on the right hand side. Matt Taylor, he's turned to the referee and appealed for a goal kick. Absolutely, it's so definite it hit him there.
Yeah.
Got some front to appeal like that.
Definitely. A ball boy didn't want to give it back either. Took his time. Arsenal fans were moaning at him.
Corner ball for Arsenal. Here with Clinton Morrison tonight. And it's goalless. It'll be a corner that'll curl in, I fancy, towards the near post. Sambi Lokonga makes the roll. It's awkward for the goalkeeper. He had to claw it away. And the real pressure in there from Tomiyasu, who's a big, burly figure. The Japanese international at 6'2", and he was pressurising him in at that near post, and it was clawed away by the Oxford keeper Ed McGinty. And it's another corner kick then for Arsenal.
Yeah, he has to come out, McGinty, and help his team. He was stuck on the line there. He done well to clear it off the line.
Arsenal putting on the pressure here at the start of the second half. Slightly deep across this time. McGinty came, palmed it away, and El Neni has it now between the Oxford penalty area and their left-hand touchline. With his shock of hair and his lime green boots, he played it well there, El Neni. Back to Tierney, lobbed down the line to Martinelli, and it's cleared away by Bates. And they are now racking up the corners, Arsenal. They have another one this time on the left-hand side that Vieira will take.
Yeah, this is more like it from Arsenal. This is how I expected the game to pan out. Them putting pressure. It didn't happen in the first half. It's happened at the start of this second half.
First goal in any cup tie like this is crucial. This is at the open end of the ground, by the way, where the car parks apart in front of the restaurant and the cinema.
Where they stand, well, after this corner.
It's going to be a corner kick, swung away, then to the edge of the penalty area, headed back and out of play for a goal kick by Nketiah. What have you seen?
Jonathan, where are they standing? Are they standing on someone's car? The 8 or 9 fans there. They're standing on something.
To get a look at they're standing on your car, Clinton.
I hope not. But they've got the best view in the house.
It's going to be a goal kick. That game I was telling you about, that cup tie in the 80s, I remember them being in the trees, the Manor Ground, sitting in the trees watching that day. I don't know if many of our listeners can remember back that far. And I think there's a couple of stewards gone along, policemen have gone along to tell those miscreants standing on the roof of someone's car to get away rather quickly. Anyway, Arsenal defending to our right-hand side. Gabriel has misjudged it. He's got Rob Holding behind to thank for his headed clearance away. Brannigan now for Oxford. Turns, twists, advances 2 yards down the far side, but it's cleared away in front of the Oxford United half of that north stand, which is segregated almost down the middle. 1,700 Arsenal fans are here to the left-hand end of that stand, and this is going to be a long throw. Again then by left-back Kieran Brown, wearing the yellow and black shirts and black shorts, almost like the old Arsenal. Well, it is virtually the same as the old Arsenal away kit. And it comes then. What's a good throw to the edge of the 6-yard area. 3 Arsenal players were back there. Tomiyasu got his head to it, and then Brown, in trying to follow up, couldn't get the crossing. Bate might do though. Tiny little midfield out to Brown. It's a good cross in, looking for his centre half. Long always forward, cleared away to Lewis Bate. Thinks about the pass into the penalty area, and Bodin outside the box he goes, then back into the penalty area, and Tomiyasu timed the tackle well. And then Vieira, for whom this isn't any sort of real game, tries to lob it away. Not his night, Vieira, not the platform to use his skills really, but it is an Arsenal throw, and Brown's held on to the ball too long, and that's the first portion of the night.
He's stupid. He's getting booked. He's already against Saka. He's going to have a tough evening, and then he holds on to the ball, Kieran Brown. Just give the ball back. You've given the foul away. Now you've got a yellow card. You have to be careful now. Saka, sometimes I don't know what goes through players' mind, and in particular his at the moment.
And Arsenal will now seek every passing route they can find to get the ball out to Saka, and Brown has given them a route to success in this match on a yellow card against England's talented winger. And Taylor then has brought back an arm and caught Gabriel, and he's complaining, and he's lashed the ball after the whistle had gone behind the Arsenal goal. His arm came back. Gabriel might have made a meal of it, but big centre half goes down too easily for me there, Clinton. But anyway, he was fouled.
Yeah, it was a foul. It definitely was. But Gabriel's lucky he didn't play when we were playing, because someone like Alan Shearer would have done that all game for sure. That's how it is. It is a foul though. He does catch him, but that happens because centre halves go through centre forwards. That's for sure.
This is a good run by Murphy, initiated down the right hand side. He goes down for Oxford, whose fans appeal for a free kick, not given. I'm not too sure it was. I think David Coote, the referee's got it right. Rolled out by Turner. El Neni to the edge of his penalty area. Back it goes then to Gabriel. He takes stock, looks up, no movement up front of him. Now Vieira makes a run through the middle. It's veered to the right hand side of the Oxford defence, where it's cleared away by Elliot Moore. And still no breakthrough. We've played an hour, no goals.
Yeah, and I think they're bringing on double subs. Zinchenko and Xhaka's coming on.
Zinchenko with the fair hair and the...
Yeah, Tierney's one that's coming off.
Yeah, he's gone. He's just walked off.
Yeah. And it's either El Neni or Lokongo, more than likely. Yeah, Lokongo. Sammy Lokongo.
I think he's played well, don't you? Lokongo.
Yeah, I thought he's done well, but I think now Arteta wants to win this, and I don't think he wants any more games or a replay. So I think he's bringing on all of his big hitters now. Oxford are making a change as well.
Zinchenko has been a regular for Arsenal this season in swapping with Kieran Tierney.
Wiltshire is coming on for Murphy, because as you said, he's just coming back, isn't he, Jonathan?
He's hardly played any games as Josh Murphy, only his 10th since joining the club, and he's replaced by Yannick Wiltschut, who's from Amsterdam. He's a Suriname international.
He used to be at Middlesbrough, I think, once upon a time.
You're right. He joined them for £800,000, went on to Wigan.
Yep.
And he went from Wigan to Norwich for £8 million.
I knew he went for big money somewhere. Yeah, he's got good pedigree.
Didn't
work out though.
Well, they had some strange buys at that time, didn't they?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was £8 million anyway. But Zinchenko on then for Arsenal, and also Granit Xhaka sent on to win a tie. There was a time when Arsenal fans would have dreaded that, but he's a folk hero at the club now, is Granit Xhaka, very much so, and a leader of the club. And Martinelli's he was clipped. Listen to the Oxford fans, they hate the decision, but Anderson got too tight to him on the turn and brought him down, and it was a free kick.
Yeah, it was a foul. He definitely catches him late, Anderson. I think second half Martinelli's got the better of Anderson at times. I think Anderson's good at recovery, but sometimes he doesn't check his shoulders to see where he is.
It's going to be a free kick here then for Arsenal on the left-hand side. It's a couple of yards in, maybe more than that actually. 3 or 4 yards in from this left-hand side, and Fabio Vieira will take it. Left-footed player, talented player. We haven't seen his best in an Arsenal. He's only a one league start, mind you. That was the defeat away at the game away at Brentford. They won this year, but it was their last year, the opening game when Brentford beat them. It was a sorry Arsenal that day. But here they are. They've come to Oxford as league leaders. 62 minutes gone. They're being held 0-0 on 5 Live. Vieira takes that free kick. Oh, it's a dangerous one. It's in the back of the Arsenal league, and then he got in into the 6-yard area, and a bullet of a header past McGinty, and Arsenal 1-0 up.
Yeah, it's a great ball in from Vieira, and it's a free run. You can't keep giving away free kicks because Arsenal do pull it in on the money. Great ball from Vieira, great header from Elneny. Hard now for Oxford because they haven't looked like they're going to score all evening.
He really powered in there. There were 2 of them actually. Gabriel was on his shoulder as he went in there. Mohamed Elneny, he hasn't scored this season. His last goal was in May of 2021. He's won this competition in 2017 in that game against Chelsea, and he's scored here tonight, and they lead by a goal to 0. Not scored many in his entire career. He's only got 5 at the Arsenal.
Yeah, he's a holding midfielder, so it's either a long range shot or, as you see from there, from a great set piece, and a great header though.
Really good header, Arsenal lead. And really there should be no obstacle now between Arsenal and a 4th round game at Manchester City, because Oxford haven't offered anything really in terms of attacking football.
Well, they'll have to come out now, Jonathan. They'll have to be better in that final third. As you said, they've been struggling to score goals in the league. It's going to be even harder against a good Arsenal team. But
we have seen comebacks, we have seen twists and turns in this remarkable 3rd round weekend. So many people's favourite weekend of the football calendar. And it's Arsenal 1-0 up here.
Just take confidence from what Stevenage did yesterday.
Wiltshire tried to get beyond his man on that left-hand side, couldn't get beyond him. Bowden has now come to the right for Oxford, Billy Bowden. The only sing when you're winning is the taunt from the Oxford fans, who sing it more precisely than I could say it apparently. But anyway, here's Billy Bowden with a lovely touch beyond Zinchenko. It's not in a dangerous area. Didn't get a shout that Martinelli was man on, but he still curls it to the left-hand side of the Arsenal box. Wiltshire stepping inside Tomiyasu, timed his tackle very well, stole it away, comes back then to Bate with this wriggling run into the Arsenal penalty. In comes across it, and then he partially clears it away, and nearly came back there to Yannick Wiltshire, but Arsenal clear it out, and way over the halfway line. It bounces once and disappears in front of the far stand from a step, and it'll be an Oxford throw-in on 5 Live. Tomorrow we have Manchester United Charlton in the EFL Cup quarter-final, and also in the Carabao on 5 Live Sports Extra, Newcastle against Leicester City. On Wednesday, the quarter-final ties Southampton Man City on 5 Live, Forest Wolves on Extra. And then we've got a plethora of games coming up for you at the weekend. That's an ill-judged challenge by the centre-back Elliot Moore, who came absolutely powering through his man and bundled into Vieira and knocked him for 6. And it's going to be and in fact Granit Xhaka is calling on the Arsenal physio because Vieira has stayed down. I think he made contact with his back rather than his head.
Yeah, I think Vieira was signalling straight away that he needed attention from the physio. It was a forceful challenge from Moore, but yeah, I think he caught him in the back. He might be winded. Hopefully it's only winded.
Back when you were starting as well, when you went short like that and planted your feet in the ground. Shearer was brilliant at it. He was the master at it. Yeah. You go short, plant your feet, you know you're going to get hit.
Yeah, because you just expected contact from the centre half. Once you planted yourself there, as soon as the centre half can't, between man and ball, you put your body in there. Centre half, if he wants to come through it, he's going to have to foul you. And you're right, Shearer was one of the best at it.
I remember seeing him against the Arsenal up at St James's, where he sucked Tony Adams into 2 of them. Tony got sent off, and he was brilliant at it though. It's a free kick. I think we should, by the way, got a little gap here. Talk about Gareth Bale retiring, because I heard on another radio station he was touted as the best British player that's ever been born today. I'm not too sure I'd go that far, but what do you make of that, Gareth, stepping down?
Oh, he's a top player, to be fair. Everyone kind of expected it. You saw him at the World Cup. It wasn't the Gareth Bale that we'd seen over the years gone by, and obviously it was difficult, but I think if he feels like his body can't make it do it anymore, then fair play to him. But he's had a fantastic career. What a player he's been. I remember the struggles he had at the start of his career, nailing down a place, but then he just went from strength to strength, and yeah, fantastic player. What a fantastic career Gareth Bale has had.
5 Champions League winners' medals.
See, that's some achievement, by the way.
I would suggest, by the way, had there been Champions League in the 60s and early 70s, Georgie Best would have had 5.
Yeah.
He's the best I've ever seen, best British player I've ever seen in my life. There's a free kick, and Granit Xhaka will take it for Arsenal into that box. He was looking for holding coming in. An offside flag was raised. I don't think there's any excuse for that, Clint, really, to be offside like that.
I agree with you, because he's looking across the line holding, so he doesn't need to go early. He needs to time it, and he goes too early. I agree with you. I think it's a manager's pet hate. I remember I was playing a few times and be offside, the manager would go mad at me.
Who was the toughest you played under?
That's a good question. I'd say the toughest manager I had was Neil Warnock. Wow. And we did have our arguments and our battles in the changing room, but in the end I speak to him now, and I didn't like him at the start when he first came to Crystal Palace, but I grew to like him at the end.
Players do, don't they? They really love playing for him.
Yeah.
It's a long throw here for Oxford into the Arsenal box. They trail by a goal to 0. Up goes Holding to head it away, and there's a lob from the edge of the box by Brannigan.
Yeah.
It's collected by the goalkeeper. It was an easy one for him to collect, and he quickly bowls it out to Martinelli, who's gained a yard in there on bait. But look at the way that Javan Anderson cut back on the angle and got there, and Bate scurried in with another challenge. He's been excellent for Oxford, he really has.
Yeah, he has, you're right. Bate's been outstanding.
Tomiyasu stoops in the Arsenal right back position, coming in off the right back position to a more central position to head it away. And Bowden leads it to the right hand side. Here's Bate again. Always there'll be an argument about Lewis Bate that he's too short for Premier League football, but then Alan Ball was no giant, he won a World Cup. And on the right hand side it's Billy Bowden now for Oxford. Here's it back to Brannigan. Brannigan, all this on the right touchline, about 10 yards inside the Arsenal half, at 1-0 down Oxford. Here it goes, 20 yards to pass to Moore, just to his right hand side he's got McGuane. He's given it away to Xhaka, and now El Neni, the goal scorer. Vieira, he's got runners either side, he looks for Nketiah in behind here. This will finish the tie. He rounds the goalkeeper, he rolls it into the back of the net, and Arsenal lead by 2-0. The flag stays down, and it was a clinical finish from a good ball forward, and Oxford will cut apart. Oxford 0, Arsenal 2.
Yeah, Gouin gives the ball away. It's poor from him. He gives the ball. He cannot play them balls in, but you got to credit Xhaka. And this is why Xhaka's been outstanding. He anticipates it, and then it's a great ball from Xhaka. It's a defense splitting ball, and a run from Nketiah. That's what he does. He plays on defenders' shoulders, and once Eddie Nketiah's in that position, 9 times out of 10 he finishes. Does ever so well. Goes around the goalie. Really good finish. And that is tie over for me.
It's his 6th of the season. It's his 3rd in 4 games. People still criticise him. He was on the bench when Arsenal won the Cup the last time against Chelsea. He wants a starting place if they go there all the way through, but I'm not too sure with Gabriel Jesus due back in a few weeks that will happen for him, but he's making the most.
Jonathan, was that Vieira or was that Xhaka? It was Vieira. I thought it was Vieira. It's Vieira. I gave him a disservice. It's a great ball from Vieira.
Well,
it wasn't Xhaka.
They were calling his name, weren't they? They were calling his name. The Arsenal fans.
2 assists.
I was saying it wasn't his sort of night.
Yeah, now that's what happens. It can just turn like that. But that's how football goes. He's had a quiet night. He's had 2 assists. Brilliant.
Oxford up against it now. Moore looking through the middle and away by Gabriel. There's an old football song being sung. Que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be.
They could be going to Wembley, Jonathan, but they got Man City in the next round.
Oh, you killjoy.
I'm only joking, Arsenal fans. You enjoy yourself.
You belong in the Micah Richards school of killjoys, you.
I apologise. I'm only one.
And you'd have had to listen earlier on the programme to understand what I've just said, by the way. And Arsenal had it at 2-0 up. Here's Zinchenko. Big, long diagonal away towards Saka, who heads it on. And up in support was Vieira. Given license perhaps to get a little bit more forward because he knows that behind him he's now got Xhaka alongside Elneny. I didn't think that Lokonga did a bad job, but here is Xhaka, a little bit of space, more experience, strokes a pass out to Saka on that right-hand touchline, and Arsenal should be comfortable here with 18 minutes to go. And a tough old tie that is. Up at Manchester City in the last round. Now Vilcek's got away from Tomiyasu, steaming into the Arsenal half. Long-legged, he lengthens his stride into the dead ball line, he's overrun it.
I think he's let that go for a corner, surely. Yeah, he did let that go, yeah. Great run from Wilshere, really good run, really positive.
He's only had the one start. It was...
Arsenal have a problem because Saka's down.
Yeah.
And that's when you always have these problems here, when you play your players too much. He's telling them to get up, Arteta is, but Saka's saying, I'm not getting up.
Well, he's down. I think he's unlacing his left boot. It's a long way away from us to tell. They're sending on the medical staff. That's a decent run that by Yannick Vilcek. He's only had the one start, you know. He's had 4 games this season. He signed from CSKA Sofia back at the start of the season, but he's had his injuries, had a hamstring problem. For a minute there, as he let the ball run on, I thought he's pulled up with a hamstring, but you got it right straight away that it'd taken a deflection. What does this look like to you, Saka?
It's an injury. It looks like he's picked an injury, and if it is an injury, you know what I mean, they've got the big North London derby, it'd be a huge blow to lose him. Hopefully he's alright.
Well, 2-0 up. But 16 minutes to go. You don't risk him, do you?
Yeah, I was surprised he played to the 73rd minute. Anyway, I thought after 60 minutes he would have took him off. Hopefully it's just a bit of cramp.
They got such strength and depth on the bench. They got Odegaard there who could come on in that position. They've got Emil Smith-Rowe who could well come on.
He's coming on, Smith-Rowe.
Yeah, he is down there. He's just about to get ready with the 4th official. And this will be a welcome sight for a lot of the Arsenal fans to see Emil Smith-Rowe back in action.
Great news. Such a talented individual. So happy to see him back.
And missing since September, Smith-Rowe, and about to return to Arsenal playing action. Corner kick for Oxford meanwhile, and Moore was up. Couldn't get the header though, and Arsenal cleared to the halfway line, and it's turned all the way back to McGinty in their goal. So Saka is trudging around the far side, walking okay, but his evening is done. Applauds the Arsenal fans. And Tomiyasu forces the ball forward, looking for Eddie Nketiah. His goal has given them the 2-goal buffer. But Tomiyasu is now dispossessed by Vilcek. He's got Bowden on the edge of the penalty area, and he also had Brannigan up in support. Can't find its mark. Arsenal clear it away, and they've got a chance here. Martinelli has Smith-Rowe to his left-hand side, holds onto possession into the box, and Nketiah through on goal. That's a brilliant finish. He simply drew the keeper towards him, not all the way, and chipped it so elegantly past him, and Arsenal have gone into cruise control.
He can finish, man. You can never sleep on Eddie Nketiah. The one thing you can do is ice cool in them positions. Always been told by one great striker, Ian Wright, just go ice cool. Eddie Nketiah is always ice cool. Martinelli, great timing of a pass, and the finish from Nketiah is superb.
Really lovely finish. That's 4 goals in 9 FA Cup ties for him. And the Arsenal fans now taunting the Oxford supporters with the boring Arsenal taunt that they themselves suffered in the first half. Oxford are in turn making a change, or they're making 2 changes. Oxford United, and number 27 has come onto the field of play for them, and that's Tyler Goodrum, wide player who's featured recently, and they've also sent on Gatlin O'Donka, who's another player who is featured in recent weeks. So a couple of changes for Oxford United, but the tie has gone long gone now.
Yeah, of course it was. It was gone at 2-0, so yeah, it's comfortable.
Arsenal 3 goals to the good. Oxford making the changes. A little bit too little, too late. Bowden is one of the players who's gone off. I can't quite see who the other one is at the moment. Called out by Anderson now. He's got beyond El Nelly with a twinkle-toed run through the centre of midfield. And Arsenal have it with Tomiyasu. 5 Live from the BBC.
Sorry, I didn't. Taylor and Bolden went off. Taylor and Bolden. They both went off. Yeah.
I actually thought Taylor had gone off 3 or 4 minutes beforehand because I didn't see much of him.
Taylor and Bolden.
He had a quiet second half, hadn't he? And Tyler Goodrum at 19 years of age, and Galen O'Donka coming on. And as a manager, he does do this actually. He does blood players in FA Cup ties, youngsters. Not that they are being blooded tonight, they have featured, but he's thrown them into the spotlight a little bit late. Carl Robinson, I remember at MK, he threw a young boy in for a cup tie called Dele Alli. And he shot to fame. He's suffered the tortures of the damned in recent months and seasons, you could say. But back in the day then, what a young player he was. Long throw here for Oxford, to be taken by the left back into the Arsenal penalty area from Brown's long delivery. He's underneath that, head it back through. Might have just caught a little bit late there. His header went out of play for a goal kick, but you could hear what the Oxford fans thought about it. They thought he was fouled there, but wasn't given goal kick.
Yeah, I think we turned it because we were following the ball, but Kean Brown got caught late by Martinelli, but the referee missed it.
Now El Neni up to his goalkeeper. He had to race that pass back to the goalkeeper who would get it away. Talking of racing, you park your car next to a great jump jockey, didn't you, AP?
Yeah, AP McCoy. Yeah, I met him when I came in. My car was parked next to him. Legend, isn't he?
Oh, one of the greatest sportsmen of all time, I would suggest anyway, but I'm a big horse racing fan. And I'm told David Platt is here as well. And Timmy Mallet was...
yeah, I saw Timmy Mallet. Yeah, I did see him earlier.
He was seen coming in with a weird old hat on and whatnot, in Timmy Mallet style, if you remember Timmy Mallet from children's TV. Bit of a zany character. Arsenal have it with Xhaka just outside the centre circle, goal side of the centre circle, back to Zinchenko, loves to go into those central areas. Arsenal 3-0 up on 5 Live with 11 to go. That's a misplaced pass though, and McGinty has it in that Oxford goal.
Yeah, it made hard work of it in the first half, Arsenal, but I think you got to credit Oxford the way they defended, but second half they've been clinical, and that's what you do. You give Nketiah chances. You might not see him in the game, but once you give him chances, he can finish, Jonathan.
McGinty, I think he was straight outside his penalty area there, almost directly in line with it as he cleared it away. Assistant referee could not have told he was 30 yards further up that far touchline. Oh, well played. Vieira held on to it and now releases, and Martinelli's flying, sensible ball played back. Emil Smith-Rowe poked the shot that's deflected wide, had to readjust his feet, and he got the shot away, and it's out for a corner ball.
Yeah, you can see he's a bit rusty there because his first touch he didn't kill it like he really wanted to, and it was bobbling up, but that would have put the icing on the cake if he could have scored.
Just deflected wide.
Yeah. Tomiyasu's coming off and Ben White's coming on.
We're making 2 substitutions here, Arsenal. Any moment now. White coming on for Tomiyasu again. Occasionally he's had to sit out for Tomiyasu, but he comes on. Been a regular this season. This is his 23rd game. It's the 5th round for Brighton back in a couple of years ago against Leicester City, and they got beaten. Smith-Rowe will take the corner for the Arsenal. And the second Arsenal substitute to come on is Marquinhos, I think.
Yep, you're right, it is Marquinhos.
He's gone to the edge of the penalty area with the yellow boots. Opportunity for Marquinhos. He's not had too many since he joined the club. This is only his 6th appearance, his FA Cup debut. Joined in the summer. Brazilian from Sao Paulo. And he's occupying that right side position. Oxford have it. Bates played well, hasn't he, Clinton?
Yeah, he's been good, really good, neat and tidy in that midfield. You can see he's at a Premier League club, the way he plays, like training with Premier League players. But yeah, he's a good footballer.
He's on the ball again, up to the left touchline, then it's pulled back to Sam Long. Long to his centre-back partner, long-time centre-back partner, Elliot Moore. They swap passes, Oxford 3-0 down. But if they get a goal, it will give us the biggest cheer of the night on 5 Live. Anderson has acquitted himself well down the right to the dead ball line, pulls the cross in, and it's a well-timed block.
Sometimes I think that Zinchenko's a fantastic footballer, but in defending one-on-one situation, I think Tierney's a better defender than Zinchenko. Anderson just went past him like he wasn't there. But he does offer probably more than he does, a lot more than Tierney going forward. I think he's a brilliant footballer.
Well, not long to go, and our little snug commentary position here at the back row of the press box. Oxford on the attack. It's a good run inside that penalty area. A little chip ball back through the box. Comes out to Brannigan, and it's a big heave-ho shot that goes well wide of the net and out of play for a goal kick.
They're testing us here with all these substitutions, aren't they? Johnson's coming on anyway. Johnson's coming off. Gawain's coming off. And Fleming's coming on for Kean Brown.
Fleming they've just signed on loan from Hull. He's a fullback. Josh Johnson is an 18-year-old forward. This season has played the one game. It was against Palace in the Carling Cup when they got beaten. It's his FA Cup debut, and he's wearing 24. So changes being made all over the pitch now. You can hardly move up here in the
touch time.
It is touch time. It's a good job I'm an athlete and only 11 stone. Otherwise, we would have been a bit of a problem. Anyway, here we go. You look as if you could still be playing.
No. It's because I've got loads of padding on. When I take it off,
oh right,
there's a big belly in there now.
Well, I can't speak, mate. I've worked very hard for this one over the years, I can tell you.
Definitely. We both have.
It's the throw to Arsenal. And I think they've done a good job here today. First half, they were frustrated, but they've gone about the job and done it well.
Yeah, it's been professional. You always think coming here to Oxford could be, a banana skin, but they've been brilliant in the second half. Clinical.
Cleared away by Moore. Via his centre-back partner, Sam Long. The first clearance had been charged down by Jacko, who's worked hard since coming on. He's come towards the ball now, but Zinchenko has it in the left ball-back position. A stroke back to him by Nelly. That's untidy. That's an untidy return ball that slips away out of play for a throw into the home side. He's taken quickly by Anderson. He has it back again. Right-footed player, steers it across pitch, has to check, turn back, very right-footed actually, finds Lewis Bates, still inside his own half. He's got an expansive ball away to Fleming. If he could get it out there, eventually it comes towards the player who's, as I say, just signed on loan from Hull City. And he's available again, Fleming, on that left-hand side. Around a while at Hull, out to Bolton on loan, and Gainsborough, he was for a while. For Johnson up front, could hold it, bring it down. Gabriel intercepted, and Oxford have a throw in on their right-hand side. And perhaps they could create from out here on their right-hand side through Tyler Goodwin. No, they put it back. It's 3-0 down. 5 Live from the BBC. 4 minutes to go. And Arsenal's next game against Tottenham is live on 5 Live on Sunday. Let's remind you of that, and the Arsenal women against Chelsea as WSL comes back with us 12 p.m. on Sunday lunchtime. Also on Sunday, Chelsea Palace on 5 Live at 2 o'clock, and Newcastle Fulham on 5 Live Sports Extra. That's at the same time. And the Saturday games, Brighton, Liverpool and Brentford, Bournemouth. As Premier League returns with us. Here's Goodwin now for Oxford, crossing the halfway line, right hand side with his blue boots, little dapper player, and then up to the substitute Johnson, and as he rolled inside, so Josh Johnson's Caitlin O'Donker was rolled to the ground. It's a free kick.
He's been a handful.
Yeah,
O'Donker. Gabriel didn't want to get in a race with him, and Zinchenko pulled him back. By the letter of the law, it's a yellow card, but Coots left these yellow cards at home this evening, it looks like. They must have seen Wrighty over there because they're singing Ian Wright over there. He's in the box.
He's in the TV
there.
box on the far side. He'll be responding. Palace hero, of course, of yours when you first joined the club, I guess.
Oh, 100%.
Hero of their cup run, although he had a broken leg when they played Manchester United, played in that first game, just come back from injured, left on the bench for the replay when they weren't the same side and lost 1-0. Free kick to Oxford. Can they get a consolation goal into the penalty area? It's a header that's easily saved. The header from Sam Long it was, just plopped down, and an easy save for Matt Turner, who's had nothing to deal with really all night long. And I think that will be a disappointment to the Oxford manager.
Yeah, you want to test it. Listen, you know you're playing against Arsenal, one of the best teams around at the moment, but go and have a go, go and have an attempt at target, work the goalkeeper who's not the number one, and just have a right go. I think they've done well, Oxford, but they haven't tested the goalkeeper enough. Been neat and tidy without being threatening in the final third.
Arsenal play out to Smith Rowe. A gifted youngster. He steers it infield 10 yards to Elneny, takes it in the stride, vibrant lime green boots, and that shock of hair, and a chance here. Kenny rolled inside, trying to get the shot away. It's going to be a throw to Arsenal on the far side from us. Arsenal in control of the ball. Smith Rowe, right hand side, gets it back again from Ben White. Xhaka has Elneny there with him if he wanted him. Now Zinchenko into shooting range. Oh, goodness me, probably wishes he hadn't been in shooting range. Nearly disappeared into the car park. Confirmation of 11,538 crowd.
Yeah, I think that's a sellout for here. And they've seen a good football match, and they've seen some talented players here. I'm so glad Arteta played a strong team as well.
Lots of Premier League teams have.
Yeah, they have. You're right, Jonathan. Especially in this round, there is. And a lot of Premier League teams have gone out as well in this round.
Do you think that's the World Cup effect? Because they haven't had too many games, because of the World Cup break, that they've been able to do that. Oh, Oxford look over the top. And the substitute was after that and chasing down on it, but it's through to the goalkeeper. Wouldn't quite come down for Caitlin O'Donker. And Arsenal now into the dying seconds, 10 seconds to remain, plus stoppage time, and 3-0 up, and a trip to Manchester City to be booked for a lot of those fans on the far side. And let me take this opportunity to pay tribute to the football fans of the land who've managed to travel in recent weeks with the train strikes. They are such a resolute group. I don't know how they do it. I find it remarkable they turn up in their numbers, especially because it's so expensive these days.
No, it is. With the train strike, you've got to credit all the fans that come from Arsenal, the Oxford fans that have come, probably travelled from distance as well. It's brilliant, and you've got to credit every fan up and down the country that is doing it, because it's not easy at the moment, cost of living.
It was my first chance on 5 Live as well to pay tribute to Gianluca Vialli, who I knew well from working on TV covering Chelsea games and the radio. What a gentleman, what a wonderful player, what a dignified man, and loved by everyone who knew him, I think. Had such charisma. Brought out of defence here by Javan Anderson for Oxford. It was not a bad game, the right back at all. You can see why he's played for some big clubs in his career.
Definitely.
Arsenal in possession, 3-0 up. Zinchenko's pass out wide gave Martinelli work to do, and he couldn't do it. There's a throw then to Oxford, and back here then to Elliot Moore. The one blot on the copybook for Arsenal, I think that's handball by Marquinhos, is the injury to Saka, who went off about 10 minutes ago.
I think I saw Arteta speaking to him when he was walking around, and I think he's just pointing down to his hamstring. Maybe it was just tightness, because he wasn't limping when he was walking around, so hopefully it's just a bit of tightness and he'll be all right for that North London derby.
Those Oxford fans are still there on that 14-year-old Ford Focus. That is your car down there.
Yeah, it is mine. They didn't know that. Ford Focus. I said they could do that.
I used to have. I love Fords, me.
Yeah.
Other cars are available, other brands on the BBC, as you know. But They're still there. Look, there's 4 of them. The old Bill keep walking up behind them.
I think it's I think it must be their car. That's why.
Yeah. Well, Arsenal through. They've beaten Manchester City. They've beaten Oxford United by 3-0 to book that passage through to Manchester City. 2 goals for Eddie Nketiah in rat-a-tat fashion. El Neni had put Arsenal ahead, and once they'd taken the lead, Clinton, that was it, really, game over.
Yeah, it was comfortable for Arsenal. In the second half, they came out with better tempo. They were on the front foot, caused a lot of problems. Vieira got into the game. He was quiet in the first half, and Nketiah's finishing was razor sharp up front. And credit to Eddie Nketiah. A lot of people said, could he fill Jesus' shoes? I'm not saying he can, because Jesus is a fantastic player, but he's doing well at the moment, scoring a lot of goals.
Lovely to work with Clinton Morrison here tonight. I've known him since he was a 16-year-old boy. And Chappers, you know, the remarkable thing that both Clinton and I still look so remarkably young.
Absolutely, Jonathan. Absolutely. He can't do much more, can he, Eddie Nketiah, Clinton?
No, Chappers, all he can do is, when he's given these opportunities, take them. And he is doing that at the moment. The 2 goals today were brilliant. They were ice cool. He always told as a centre forward, when you get into those positions, be ice cool, and that's what he was. In particular, I like the second goal. Second goal was full of confidence, a little dink over the goalkeeper. He's in superb form at the moment.
Jonathan, the way he has, well, not bounced back, because it was always, the ball was always in his court, was it? But he has the uncertainty that was there towards the end of last season. Was he going to stay? Was he not going to stay? Was he going to sign a new contract? He is a very effective player for them now.
He is. You know, his mentor is Ian Wright. Now, you think how many times Ian Wright bounced back in his career. You know, as a boy, he wasn't fancied. He was at Millwall, I think, as a kid. No, he wasn't going to make it. Palace, he had the broken leg in the cup run. People said he wouldn't come back from that. He did. And Ian Wright would have instilled that sort of tenacity in young Eddie Nketiah. I know he looks up to Ian. And, you know, his contract's through now until the June of 2027, I believe. And when he was a kid, the under-21s, 28 goals in 40 games at under-21 level for the Arsenal. His career thus far, and people will say, look, he's got 30 goals and 115 appearances for the seniors. You know, that's not good enough. But a lot of those appearances have been cameos, 5, 6, 8 minutes from the bench. You know, he's now getting starts. His manager has got great faith in him, and he's rewarding that. And I thought he took his opportunities really, really well tonight.
He's not unique, is he, Clinton, in needing opportunities and needing to play from the start. I mean, for a young striker to get, as Jonathan says, cameos here, cameos there, 15 minutes, a half here, 20 minutes, maybe the odd start in an early round League Cup game. You can't look at someone's stats based on that.
No, definitely not. And as any striker will tell you, you need to run a games, Chappers. You can't play one game and then be out for 10 games and coming on for 5 minutes or 2 minutes. It's hard to make an impact. And Eddie Nketiah earned that contract on the back of what he did towards the end of last season. I thought he was outstanding, scoring goals. They brought in Jesus, he's an excellent striker. He knew he had to bide his time, but you can see he's confident. He wanted that number 14 shirt, the famous Thierry Henry one, and he's took it, and he is scoring goals at the moment, but he's a natural born finisher. That's the one thing you see with Eddie Nketiah. He might not want to do a lot outside the box, but as a number 9, you're judged on goals, and he can finish.
You still sense, both of you, though, that they need more, don't they? Like Eddie Nketiah, for Gabriel Jesus, great. Emil Smith-Rowe coming back from his injury problems and featuring tonight. They could really do with just another attacking option to bolster that squad in this window.
Yeah, I think you're right, Chappers. I think they do need another attacking, maybe a wide man, because I think Jesus, we don't know when he's going to be back. It could be anyone that plays in that any of those 3 front positions, but they do need someone, because you saw them when they played against Newcastle. He was looking who could he bring off his bench. He didn't really make an attacking option. Vieira's done his chances quite good tonight. I thought he was good in the second half, but he's got to do more. He's got to do more to try and get into that Premier League team. But I think in January, that's the one bit of business Arsenal will be looking to do. Add another attacker, because they are flying at the moment, Chappers.
They might have wanted João Felix, Jonathan, but he's going to Chelsea.
Yeah, on a loan deal, I think, isn't it, with an option, which is remarkable business, really. They'll have to pay for the loan is in the modern way. They want Mudryk to come in from Ukraine, but I think that deal has gone west now, because there are others involved, and they want too much money for him now. I think Arsenal are prepared to pay. So, you know, he's had a good season in the Champions League, and he has impressed in the Champions League. 85 million plus for that player. I think a lot of the fees are too much anyway for players, but I think that is excessive. And they're all looking for the same. All these teams are looking for the same. Whatever league they're playing in, Oxford would want one. For their standard, comparative standard. They all want these players, and they just. When you watch, I was involved, as you know, Mark, for a long time in youth football, coaching youth football. The kids want to be, when they come to you as a coach at that age, they say, I want to be a 10. I want to be a 10, or they said to me, I want to be a duff muff, and I said, what on earth is that? And it's a defensive midfield player. But they get it from the games machines, I want to be a LB. What's an LB? Left back. We'll call it left back then. But none of them want to be a CF, a SUF. They don't want to be that, and they want to be a 10, and that's the role that they see Neymar playing and Messi playing, and that they don't want to take the knocks. I mean, when I was a kid, everyone wanted to be a centre forward.
I think FIFA and Football Manager is what you're looking for, Jonathan, rather than the games machines. It doesn't half Clinton set up a mouth-watering fourth round tie, Manchester City against Arsenal.
It's a hell of a game, to be fair. You saw what Man City did to Chelsea the other night. It was outstanding, and it'll be a good game, a really good game. Arteta obviously learning a lot under Pep Guardiola, both flying, trying to go and win the Premier League. So yeah, it'll be fun. And both play strong teams. That's what I like. Pep Guardiola made, 8 changes the other day against Chelsea. Did it weaken his team? No, it was just as strong as his starting 11, and that's how I think the difference between the two teams at the moment, chappers, is that Man City could make 7 or 8 changes and it doesn't weaken their team. If Arsenal were to do that, it would weaken their team slightly. But yeah, it is a fascinating game, and I'm looking forward to it.
The subplot to that, Jonathan, is that will take place 2 weeks before, maybe 10 days before the midweek game between Arsenal and Manchester City in the league that was postponed.
And also, you're talking just a fortnight before Champions League is back. So that'll be another one for them another angle for them all to think about now. The next couple of weeks in the league, I think, are going to be absolutely crucial before you hit fourth round stage. And then the complication of Champions League. There are going to be so many spins yet in this bizarre season, because we don't know. That point I made in the second half, it just struck me. A lot of them are playing these senior teams in the FA Cup, and I think that the World Cup does have something to do with that. The fact they didn't have football for a month, so they feel they can play. Plus the fact, for some of them who played, let's say Friday night, Man United against Everton, they had 8 days before the next Premier League game. Or Man United had a League Cup tie, I know, but the point I'm trying to make is they have played these strong teams, and I think the World Cup had an effect. We don't know what effect the World Cup will have on the entire season as it drains through until its culmination in early June. And I think it's going to be absolutely fascinating to see this. I really do.
Sets Arsenal up tonight for the North London derby as well, Clinton, on Sunday, which is at Tottenham. You'll be able to hear that on 5 Live.
Yeah, you'll be able to hear it because I'm doing the game, mate. So that's why you'll be able to hear it, and I'll definitely.
I thought you might be doing.
Well, chappers, I always get the ones in London. You know that.
Do you know what I'll be doing? I'll be doing a dress rehearsal at home on my games machine. My games machine is called Subutio.
But no, chappers, it's a good game. It's a good game. We're all going to be looking forward to that. It'll be a brilliant game. Hopefully Saka's fit, because hopefully the injury wasn't too bad. We could just see him walking around, and like I said to Arteta, maybe his hamstring was a bit tight, but hopefully he's fit and it's a good game.
Given sort of Tottenham's performances, not so much their form, but their performances, are they there for the taking for Arsenal, or can they change their style to go on the front foot?
I don't think they can change their style. I think that's how Tottenham play, and I think that's how Antonio Conte sets them up. And obviously, you look at the game and you'd think Arsenal are favourites, but it's a North London derby. It'll be a great atmosphere at Tottenham Stadium. So, and then fans will expect they want Tottenham to roll over. And the one thing you've got to worry about is Harry Kane, because at the moment he's single-handedly dragging Tottenham. He is dragging them forward. He's been outstanding, and there might be rumours that Kulusevski might be back, and I think he's an important player, because we keep talking about Tottenham. They don't have no creative players. Well, you need the likes of Kulusevski, Richarlison and Bentancur back. We don't know when they're going to be back, but if one or two of them back for the North London derby, it helps Tottenham massively.
No one's got a better scoring record in North London derbies than Harry Kane. He'll break Jimmy Greaves' record at the weekend if he can get goals against the Arsenal, and he'll be playing, I would imagine he'll play on Gabriel. That's who will look to force weaknesses and mistakes out of. Massive game for Gabriel should he play for Arsenal at the weekend.